They thought they were clever, pulling her shirt off in front of everyone, the ultimate humiliation for the woman they believed didn't belong. Their laughter died instantly when they saw her chest and torso, a map of deep, jagged scars that told a story of battles they couldn't imagine. The room fell silent as instructors and recruits alike froze, their mockery dissolving into shock. Those who came to witness her shame instead discovered a truth branded across her skin. She had already endured pain far beyond anything training could inflict. The scars revealed what words never could. She wasn't the weakest among them. She was the most dangerous. From which city in the world are you watching this video today? If this story resonates with you, consider subscribing to see more untold stories of extraordinary people. The morning routine at Fort Cassian Military Training Facility began like every other in the Apex program with pain. Recruits navigated the infamous obstacle course as dawn broke, their labored breathing creating clouds in the cold air. The instructors watched with calculating eyes, seeking weakness, measuring potential, culling those unfit for what lay ahead. Sorrel Thorn moved through the course differently than the others. Where they powered through with brute force, she flowed like water, finding the path of least resistance. Each movement precise, measured, efficient. She cleared the 15-foot wall without the dramatic struggle of her peers, navigated the rope swing with quiet competence, and crawled under barbed wire as if she had done it 1,000 times before. She finished 5th out of 23, not first, not last, perfectly, deliberately unremarkable. If you are not first, you are last, Thorn, Commander Huxley Brandt's voice cut through the morning air. He stood with perfect posture, his weathered face permanently set in disappointment. The enemy will not wait while you catch your breath. Sorrel met his eyes briefly. Yes, sir. No excuses, no explanations. The others glanced her way with a mixture of curiosity and resentment. 12 weeks into the Apex program, and Sorrel remained an enigma. Never failing, never excelling, never revealing anything beyond what was strictly necessary. In the locker rooms afterward, Sorrel lingered by her locker, organizing gear while the others showered. Same routine every day, wait until everyone finished, then clean up alone. It had not gone unnoticed. What is wrong, Thorn? Shy? Darian Wolcott called out, emerging from the shower area with a towel wrapped around his waist. Squad leader, top of every physical assessment, and self-appointed tormentor of anyone he deemed unworthy. Or just afraid we will see you do not have the muscle to back up that attitude. His inner circle laughed on cue. Sorrel continued organizing her gear, face impassive. Maybe she is hiding something, offered Recruit Mercer, Darian's shadow. Maybe Daddy paid her way in, and she is afraid we will see she does not belong. The memory surfaced unbidden, sitting across from the Apex program review board, her application file open before them. Your written scores are perfect, miss. Thorn, the colonel had said, but your file shows no combat experience. Apex is not for civilians playing soldier. Sorrel had maintained perfect eye contact. My experience is not in my file, but I will complete your program. Back in the present, Sorrel closed her locker. I just prefer privacy, Wolcott. We all have to get comfortable being uncomfortable here, Darian replied, blocking her path. What makes you so special? From across the room, Lieutenant Corvus Ravel appeared in the doorway. The right side of his face bore a distinctive pattern of scars, like something had exploded nearby, embedding fragments into his skin. His eyes met Sorrel's for a fraction too long. Tactical assessment in 5 minutes, he announced, voice gravelly. Wolcott, stop socializing and get dressed. As Ravel turned to leave, his gaze lingered on Sorrel, something unreadable passing between them. Later, during the tactical simulation, Sorrel navigated the virtual battlefield with uncanny precision. Her movements were textbook perfect until the final objective, where she hesitated just long enough to miss the optimal solution. From the observation booth, Lieutenant Ravel watched with narrowed eyes. Thorn, he called as she exited the simulation chamber. A word. The other recruits continued to their next rotation as Sorrel approached Ravel, standing at parade rest. Your performance was adequate, he said, loud enough for those nearby to hear, then quieter. But you know better than to leave the northwest quadrant exposed. That is not how I trained you. Sorrel's expression remained neutral. I do not know what you mean, sir. Ravel studied her face, his scarred cheek twitching slightly. Of course. My mistake. He nodded toward the door. Dismissed. That night in the barracks, when the others had fallen asleep, Sorrel examined a small geometric tattoo on her inner wrist, an angular design that resembled no known military insignia. When footsteps approached, she quickly pulled her sleeve down. Ellery Finch, one of the few female recruits remaining, paused by Sorrel's bunk. Lights out was 20 minutes ago, she whispered. Could not sleep, Sorrel replied. Ellery hesitated. Look, I do not want to overstep, but I saw what happened in the simulation today. Lieutenant Ravel spoke to you differently than he does to the rest of us, like he knows you. Sorrel's face revealed nothing. You are imagining things. Maybe, Ellery conceded. Or maybe there is more to you than you let on. Either way, watch your back. Wolcott has been rallying the others against you, says you do not belong here. After Ellery returned to her bunk, Sorrel lay awake, mind churning. She had known the risk of returning to active training, known that someone might recognize her despite the changed name and appearance. Ravel had not been factored into her calculations, his presence at Fort Cassian a dangerous variable. The next morning arrived with unexpected news. Commander Brandt gathered the recruits before dawn, his stern face more severe than usual. Tonight's exercise will test your night operations capabilities, he announced. Capture the flag, 2 teams. Woods to the north, full tactical gear, training weapons only. He paused. War does not wait for daylight, neither do we. Darien caught Sorrel's eye across the formation, his smile predatory. The day passed in preparation, cleaning equipment, studying terrain maps, planning strategy. When dusk fell, the recruits assembled at the edge of the forest, their breath visible in the cold air. Commander Brandt divided them into teams, strategically placing Sorrel on the opposite side from Darien. You have until 0200 to capture the opposing flag and return it to base, Brandt instructed. Live ammunition has been replaced with marking rounds. If you are hit, you are dead. Return to base. Any questions? No one spoke. Begin. The teams dispersed into the darkness, tactical lights prohibited, navigating by moonlight and memory. Sorrel moved silently through the forest, having deliberately separated from her team. She would circle wide, approach the enemy flag from behind while they focused on the frontal assault. The crack of a twig was her only warning before a figure tackled her to the ground. Got her, Darien called out as more shapes emerged from the darkness, 5 of them, all from his inner circle. Sorrel realized with cold certainty that this had nothing to do with the training exercise. Your team is on the other side of the woods, Darien said, training rifle aimed casually in her direction. No one to hear us. This is not part of the exercise, Sorrel said evenly. Consider it supplemental training. Darien's smile did not reach his eyes. Time to see what you are really made of, Thorn. The group tightened around her, forming a wall from potential witnesses. 2 recruits grabbed her arms, pinning them behind her back. You do not belong here, Darien continued. Everyone knows it. You are holding back in every assessment, every exercise. Why? Daddy pulls strings to get his little girl into the big leagues? Sorrel remained silent, which only seemed to infuriate him more. Show us what you are hiding, princess. Darien stepped closer. What is under all that composure? Fear? Weakness? He reached for her tactical shirt. Let us find out. Her training screamed at her to react, to disable the threats, to eliminate the danger. 5 targets, multiple angles of attack, limited visibility. She could have them all on the ground in under 10 seconds, but that would reveal everything, and her mission would be compromised. So Sorrel held still, allowing what was about to happen. No one believes you earned your place here, Darien snarled, fingers gripping her collar. Time to prove us right. With a violent motion, he ripped open her shirt, buttons flying into the darkness. The cool night air touched her exposed skin as moonlight illuminated what she had kept hidden for 12 long weeks. The group fell silent, shock replacing the cruel anticipation on their faces. Her torso was a roadmap of violence survived. A jagged scar ran from her collarbone to sternum, puckered at the edges like it had been stitched in field conditions. Burn marks patterned her left shoulder in a distinctive splash pattern. A healed bullet wound sat inches from her heart. Most telling was the pattern across her right side, shrapnel scars that matched exactly those on Lieutenant Ravel's face. "What the hell?" one of the recruits whispered, releasing her arm and stepping back. Darian stared, his expression shifting from triumph to confusion. "Those are combat wounds." "Yes," Sorrel said simply. "They are." The sound of slow, deliberate footsteps approached from behind them. The recruits turned, faces paling as Lieutenant Ravel emerged from the shadows, his scarred face illuminated by moonlight. "At ease, recruits," he said, voice deadly quiet. Darian immediately released Sorrel's shirt, stammering, "Sir, you were just assaulting the only veteran of Operation Shadowfall in this facility," Ravel interrupted coldly. "The only survivor besides myself." The confusion on the recruits' faces was evident. None had heard of Operation Shadowfall. "That is because it never happened," Sorrel said quietly, meeting Ravel's eyes. "Officially." Ravel approached Sorrel, his gaze moving across her exposed scars with clear recognition. Then, he did something unprecedented. He snapped to attention and offered her a formal salute. 3 years ago, Specialist Thorne saved 16 hostages and 4 operatives, including myself, Ravel told the stunned recruits. Her file was wiped and her medals classified because the mission remains redacted. She is not here to become a soldier. She is here because someone wants to pretend she never was one. Darian looked between Ravel and Sorrel, comprehension slowly dawning. But her records, they show no combat experience. "That is the point of classified operations, Wolcott," Ravel replied, his tone biting. "They do not show up in records." Sorrel pulled the tattered edges of her shirt together, face expressionless. "The exercise is still ongoing. You should return to your team." None of the recruits moved, still processing what they had learned. "That was not a suggestion," Ravel barked. "Move out. Now." As the others reluctantly dispersed, Ravel turned to Sorrel. "My office, 0600 tomorrow." His voice softened slightly. "And Thorne?" "This changes things." She nodded once, knowing he was right. Her carefully constructed cover, the anonymity she had cultivated for months, had been shattered in an instant. The real mission was now in jeopardy. The following morning, Sorrel sat across from Commander Brandt, whose demeanor had transformed completely. Between them lay documents stamped "classified" in red. "Why come back?" Brandt asked. "After what happened, you could have disappeared." "Because someone is hunting the Shadowfall team," Sorrel responded, speaking freely for the first time in months. 3 operators dead in accidents. I needed resources to find who is responsible. "And you needed our training facility as cover," Brandt realized. "I needed to be forgettable," Sorrel corrected. "Until I was not." Brandt leaned back in his chair, studying her. "Lieutenant Ravel filled me in. 7 operators on Shadowfall, 3 dead in the last year, you, Ravel, and 2 others unaccounted for." "Not unaccounted for," Sorrel replied. "Hidden. I came here because this facility has access to intelligence networks I need. I thought I could blend in with the recruits, use the systems during training exercises, and leave without anyone knowing my real purpose." Brandt's expression hardened. "You used my program as a front for an unsanctioned investigation." "Yes," Sorrel admitted, "but the threat is real. Someone with high-level clearance is systematically eliminating everyone who knows what happened during Shadowfall, the same someone who buried the mission records and made sure we never received recognition. And why would anyone do that?" Sorrel leaned forward. "Because what we found was never supposed to be discovered. Evidence of weapons sales to terrorist cells authorized by someone within our own government. We were sent in to rescue hostages, not to uncover treason." Brandt was silent for a long moment. Then, "After last night's incident, there was an unauthorized access to our secure systems. Someone tried to pull your biometric data from our entry scans." Sorrel's expression did not change, but her eyes sharpened. "They know I am here." "Which means your investigation just became a priority," Brandt said. "For all our sakes." He stood, moving to a secure terminal in the corner of his office. "I am granting you level 4 clearance to our intelligence database. Whatever you need, whatever you find, you report directly to me." His fingers paused over the keyboard. "And Thorne? Next time, just ask. I do not appreciate being used as an unwitting pawn. Understood, sir. It will not happen again. As she left Brandt's office, Sorrel found Ravel waiting in the corridor. Walk with me, he said quietly. They moved through the facility in silence, past curious recruits who now looked at Sorrel with a mixture of awe and uncertainty. Word had spread quickly. You should have told me you were here, Ravel said when they reached a secluded courtyard. I could not risk it. I did not know who to trust. You could have trusted me, he replied, a hint of hurt in his voice. After everything we went through. Sorrel turned to face him. The last time I saw you, you were being loaded onto a medevac with half your face torn open. No communication since, no confirmation you were even alive until I walked into that first briefing and saw you standing there. What was I supposed to think? Ravel's scarred face softened. Fair point. I was in medical isolation for months, then deep cover assignment. By the time I surfaced, you had disappeared. I had to, she said. After Renner was found in his car at the bottom of that ravine, I knew we were being targeted. And then Voss with the mysterious home invasion, and Keller with the undiagnosed heart condition. Ravel shook his head. Too convenient. Exactly. I needed to find out who was responsible, so I created a new identity and enlisted in the one place where I could access the information I needed. And now your cover is blown, Ravel pointed out. What is your plan? I have access to the intelligence databases now. I need 48 hours to find the connection between the 3 deaths, identify the pattern, and predict who is next. You think it might be one of us, Ravel said, understanding dawning. Me, you, or the other 2. Statistically probable, Sorrel nodded, which means we need to warn them. Landry is deep undercover in Eastern Europe. No contact protocol, Ravel frowned. And Nisa? Off-grid after Keller died. Smart woman. Sorrel glanced toward the facility's main building. I need to get started. For the next 48 hours, Sorrel barely left the secure terminal room. She sifted through intelligence reports, death certificates, personnel files, and mission logs, looking for the pattern that connected the 3 deaths. Occasionally, Ravel brought her food or coffee, standing silently as she worked. On the morning of the 3rd day, she found it. They all accessed the same server, she told Ravel as he entered with fresh coffee. 2 weeks before their deaths, each of them logged into a classified database containing files on Shadowfall. Someone is monitoring the server, Ravel concluded, using it as bait. Exactly, Sorrel nodded. And I know who. The same person who authorized the weapons sales we discovered. The same person who buried our mission reports and made sure we never received recognition. Deputy Director Crane. Ravel stiffened. That is a serious accusation. Crane is 3rd in line at the agency. Perfect position to orchestrate a cover-up, Sorrel pointed out. I found financial transactions linking him to the weapons that were sold. If that information became public, he would face treason charges. So he is eliminating everyone who knows about it, Ravel said grimly, one by one. And making it look like accidents, Sorrel confirmed. Professional, nearly untraceable. Except you traced it. Only because I knew what to look for, she replied. We need to move fast. If Crane realizes I have identified him, he will accelerate his timeline. The facility alarm blared suddenly, red lights flashing in the corridor outside. Ravel tensed. That is the perimeter breach alarm. He is here, Sorrel said, closing down the terminal. We need to evacuate, now. They moved swiftly through the corridors, passing confused recruits being herded towards secure areas by staff members. At an intersection, they nearly collided with Darien and several other recruits. What is going on? He demanded. Facility breach, Ravel replied tersely. Get to the secure bunker with the others. Is it because of her? Darien asked, looking at Sorrel. Because of whatever classified operation you were part of. Yes, Sorrel said simply. And everyone in this facility is now in danger because of it. I need to draw them away from here. Darien's expression changed from accusation to resolution. We will help you. My team can create a diversion while you escape. Sorrel looked at him, genuinely surprised by the offer. This is not your fight. You are one of us, Darien said firmly. Whatever you did to earn those scars, whatever you are running from, we protect our own. An explosion rocked the building before she could respond, smoke billowing from the east wing. They are already inside, Ravel said grimly. We need to move. Take your team to the motor pool, Sorrel instructed Darian. Get as many vehicles started as possible, make it look like an evacuation in progress. That will draw their attention while we access the armory. Darian nodded, gathering his team with hand signals. Be careful, Thorn, he said before they separated. And I am sorry for what happened in the woods. Stay alive, and we will call it even, she replied. As Darian's team disappeared down one corridor, Sorrel and Ravel headed in the opposite direction. The armory, Ravel questioned. I thought we were evacuating. We are, Sorrel confirmed. But first, we need to send a message. If Crane wants to eliminate everyone who knows about Shadowfall, he is going to find that we are not as easy to kill as he thought. Ravel grinned, the expression transforming his scarred face. Just like old times. Let us hope not, Sorrel replied. Last time you nearly died. And you saved me, Ravel reminded her. A debt I intend to repay. They reached the armory door, Ravel entering his access code. Inside, they quickly selected weapons and tactical gear. What is the plan? Ravel asked as they prepared. We identify Crane's strike team, capture one of them alive, and get confirmation of his involvement, Sorrel said. Then we take the evidence to the director. And if the director is involved too? Sorrel checked her weapon with practiced efficiency. Then we go public. The evidence I found is already uploaded to a secure server, set to release to major news outlets if I do not enter a code every 24 hours. Always thinking ahead, Ravel said with approval. That is why you were the team leader. Another explosion shook the building, closer this time. Time to move, Sorrel said. Are you ready for this? Ravel adjusted his tactical vest, eyes meeting hers. Born ready, Specialist Thorn. They moved through the facility with practiced coordination, communicating with hand signals that spoke of years fighting side by side. Smoke filled the corridors, emergency lights casting everything in an eerie red glow. In the distance, sporadic gunfire echoed off concrete walls. East Wing is compromised, Ravel reported after checking a security terminal. 4-man team, tactical gear, military precision. Professionals, Sorrel confirmed. Not agency standard protocol. Contractors' deniability, Ravel nodded. If they fail, Crane can disavow all knowledge. They advanced cautiously toward the sound of gunfire. As they rounded a corner, they spotted 2 black-clad figures advancing on a group of recruits who had taken cover behind an overturned table. Among them was Ellery, who was returning fire with a training weapon that had been hastily loaded with live ammunition. Sorrel took aim and dropped the first intruder with a clean shot to the shoulder, deliberately non-lethal. Ravel incapacitated the second with equal precision. Secure those 2, Sorrel ordered as they approached the recruits. We need one of them alive for questioning. Ellery emerged from behind cover, eyes wide. Thorn? What is happening? Who are these people? The consequences of my past, Sorrel replied. Is anyone hurt? Mercer took a round to the leg. Peters is applying pressure. Ellery glanced at the unconscious intruders. Are there more of them? At least 2, Ravel confirmed. And they will be heading this way once they realize their team is down. Sorrel made a quick decision. Get everyone to the motor pool. Darian and his team should have vehicles ready. Evacuate to the ranger station 5 miles south and call for military backup. Authorization code Sierra Tango 693. What about you? Ellery asked. We need to end this, Sorrel said, or they will just keep coming. Ellery hesitated, then nodded. Be careful. As the recruits moved out, half carrying the injured Mercer, Sorrel knelt beside the wounded intruder who was beginning to regain consciousness. Who sent you? She demanded. The man gritted his teeth against the pain, remaining silent. Let me make this simple, Sorrel continued. I already know it was Deputy Director Crane. What I want to know is where he is right now. The man's eyes widened slightly, confirming her suspicion. He is here, is not he? Sorrel pressed. Supervising personally. Too important to leave to subordinates. You are dead anyway, the man finally spoke. All of you who were on Shadowfall. He will never stop hunting you. That is where you are wrong, Sorrel replied, because after today, he will be the one being hunted. Where is he? Command vehicle, the man finally said, voice strained with pain. Black SUV, north perimeter. Sorrel nodded to Ravel, who efficiently secured the prisoner with zip ties. What about him? Ravel asked, indicating the second intruder who was still unconscious. We cannot take prisoners with us, Sorrel decided. Secure him here. The military response team will collect them both. They moved out, navigating through the facility toward the north perimeter. As they approached an exterior door, Ravel held up a hand, signaling Sorrel to stop. Two more, covering the exit, he whispered after peering through a narrow window. Sorrel considered their options. We need a distraction. As if on cue, a series of explosions erupted from the direction of the motor pool, followed by the roar of engines. Darien, Sorrel said with a small smile, always did have a flair for the dramatic. The guards outside turned toward the commotion, giving Sorrel and Ravel the opening they needed. They burst through the door, neutralizing both guards with swift, efficient strikes before either could radio for backup. North perimeter is just past that tree line, Ravel said, orienting himself. If Crane is in a command vehicle, he will have a clear view of the facility from the access road. They advanced through the woods, using the trees as cover. Within minutes, they spotted the black SUV parked on the service road overlooking the training facility. Two guards stood beside it, watching the chaos unfolding below. I count two externally, Ravel reported. Likely at least one more inside with Crane. I will circle around, approach from behind, Sorrel decided. You create a diversion from here in 30 seconds. Ravel nodded, checking his watch. Sorrel moved silently through the underbrush, years of special operations training evident in every step. She positioned herself behind the vehicle, waiting for Ravel's distraction. Right on schedule, a single shot rang out from the trees, striking the ground near the guard's feet. As they turned toward the source, weapons raised, Sorrel made her move. She disabled both guards with swift, decisive strikes, then pressed herself against the side of the SUV. Through the tinted windows, she could make out two figures inside, one in tactical gear, the other in civilian clothes. Deputy Director Crane. The rear door of the SUV suddenly swung open, and Sorrel found herself facing the barrel of a pistol. Specialist Thorne, Crane said, his voice calm despite the chaos surrounding them. I must admit, I am impressed you survived this long. It is what I was trained to do, Sorrel replied, keeping her hands visible but ready to move. Your mistake was sending others to do your dirty work. A necessary precaution in my position, Crane said, though clearly I should have handled the Shadowfall cleanup more personally from the beginning. Cleanup, Sorrel repeated, disgust evident in her tone. Is that what you call murdering American operatives to cover up your weapons sales to terrorists? I call it protecting national interests, Crane corrected. Some operations require moral flexibility. Tell that to the families of the agents who died because of your moral flexibility. Crane sighed. Always so righteous. This is why operators like you are ultimately expendable. You see everything in black and white when the real world operates in shades of gray. I see treason pretty clearly, Sorrel countered, and so will a military tribunal. Something changed in Crane's expression. You really think you can expose me? I have contingencies in place, insurance policies, people in positions much higher than mine who would be implicated if this came to light. I am counting on it, Sorrel replied. All of you deserve to answer for what you have done. The guard beside Crane shifted slightly, finger tightening on the trigger. Sorrel tensed, preparing to move. A single shot cracked through the air and the guard collapsed, a red stain spreading across his chest. Ravel stepped from the tree line, weapon trained on Crane. Drop the weapon, he ordered. It is over. Crane's expression hardened, but he carefully placed his pistol on the ground. You have no idea what you are doing. The system will protect me. It always does. Not this time, Sorrel said, retrieving the weapon. The evidence is already in the right hands. Your insurance policies are being exposed as we speak. Impossible, Crane said, but doubt had crept into his voice. You were so busy tracking those of us who accessed the server that you never considered we might use your surveillance against you, Sorrel explained. Every time you monitored the Shadowfall files, your own access was logged and timestamped, including the orders you sent to eliminate us. The sound of approaching helicopters filled the air. That would be the military response team, Ravel said. Right on time. As the helicopters circled overhead, Sorrel secured Crane with zip ties. Deputy Director Crane, you are under arrest for treason, conspiracy to commit murder, and the illegal sale of weapons to terrorist organizations. You will not live long enough to testify, Crane spat, his composure finally cracking. Maybe not, Sorrel acknowledged, but the evidence will speak for itself, and that is something you cannot silence. The next morning found Sorrel in the now secured facility packing her few belongings. Ravel entered without knocking, leaning against the doorframe. Military intelligence has Crane in custody, he reported. 3 of his CO conspirators have already been identified and arrested. The director has ordered a full investigation. And us? Sorrel asked. Officially debriefed and cleared of any wrongdoing, Ravel said. The Shadowfall mission is being declassified. There is even talk of commendations, finally. 3 years too late, Sorrel replied, touching the scar on her collarbone absently. Better late than never, Ravel shrugged. What will you do now? Your cover identity is blown. Time for a new one, I suppose, Sorrel said. There are other ghosts out there that need hunting. A knock at the door interrupted them. Darian stood there, his usual confidence tempered with newfound respect. Commander Brandt sent me to let you know your transport is ready, he said. Then, somewhat awkwardly, I wanted to apologize again for what happened in the woods. I misjudged you. You did, Sorrel agreed. But in the end, you and your team came through when it mattered. That counts for something. Darian nodded, then extended his hand. It was an honor serving with you even briefly. Sorrel accepted the handshake. Take care of your team, Wolcott. They are not half bad. After Darian left, Ravel turned to Sorrel. He will tell stories about you for years. Let him, Sorrel said, shouldering her bag. Maybe the next female recruit will have an easier time of it. They walked through the facility toward the landing pad where a helicopter waited. Recruits and instructors alike stood at attention as they passed, a silent gesture of respect. Commander Brandt met them at the helicopter. The agency has requested your immediate transfer to headquarters for further debriefing, he said formally. Then, more personally, what you did took courage, Thorne. Not just these past days, but 3 years ago on Shadowfall. The record will finally reflect that. Thank you, sir, Sorrel replied. But I did not do it for recognition. I know, Brandt said. That is why you deserve it. As they boarded the helicopter, Ravel turned to Sorrel. What now? Back to the agency? Sorrel looked back at the training facility, then to the horizon. First, we find Landry and Nysa, make sure they are safe. Then we decide what comes next. The agency will always need people like us. People willing to carry scars no one else can see, Ravel said with understanding. People willing to do what needs to be done, Sorrel corrected, no matter the cost. The helicopter lifted off, carrying them away from Fort Cassian and toward whatever mission awaited next. Sorrel did not look back. Her scars had told their story, justice had been served, and for the first time in 3 years, she could step into the light without fear. As the helicopter rose higher, Ravel leaned closer to be heard over the rotors. Ready to finish what we started? Sorrel met his gaze, her expression resolute. I never stopped.